Caution, the Mark Gungor Show contains adult content intended for an adult audience. And, besides that, he's really weird. Welcome to the Mark Gungor Show with international marriage speaker and author of Laugh Your Way to a Better Marriage, Mark Gungor. This is your source for practical, down-to-earth marriage advice without all the over-spiritualization or romantic nonsense. And now the host of the Mark Gungor Show, Mark Gungor.
Crowd goes wild with delirious joy. They've joined the Mark Gungor Show, the show that deals with all things concerning knowledge. Indeed, I'm your host, the one, the only Mark Gungor. Joining me is always the ever lovely and charming.
I'm in my shot today too. Good, I'm not sideways.
Oh no, my dear, you're far more sideways than
Stop.
than anyone can begin to describe. The lovely Diane, and of course the amazing Philip James Grogan. Woo.
What?
Well, whatever his last name is.
Ragnug
Gungor. Engineering the show as always, the very talented but eerily creepy Timothy Robert Ray, engineer extraordinaire, pushing buttons, twisting knobs, and trying to stay awake during this incomprehensibly, immeasurably boring show. This is the show that handles your marital challenges, relational conundrums, and dating dilemmas that you can email to us at ask@markgungor.com. Always remember, there's no such thing as a crazy question, just crazy people.
There you go. Well done. Well done.
Toned it back.
I know. You see this? This is my fruit drink.
It's kombucha.
So we have, in place of Nancy today, we have a Croatian. Okay, invasion. Today's the invasion of the Croatian.
She's a Croatian sensation.
She's a Croatian sensation.
She is.
She's running the camera, as you can see. So anyway, I bring my fruit drink. She goes, "What is that, vodka?"
Vodka?
I said, "Vodka?" First of all, when do you start seeing red vodka? She goes, when you put
cranberry
juice in it. So why would you think I was drinking vodka? She said, it might explain the show.
This is true.
So, okay, so now last week, you attempted to give the 8 tips to make your relationship feel like it did in the beginning.
But you were blathering and talking, and we never got to it.
I got sidetracked by the Hateful Eight.
You did.
Quentin Tarantino
and all
movie,
sorts of other things.
Which I do not recommend watching because it's highly disturbing. All right, so bring us up to date now. 8 tips.
And remember, these are half of them you're going to hate, so just be prepared.
You don't know that. You don't know that.
Oh, I do too. 8 tips to make your relationship feel like it did in the beginning. Number 1.
Embellish all of your stories to make yourself sound cooler than you really are.
That's one of the first things you do, like you did in the beginning.
No, actually, it's spontaneity.
Spontaneity?
Your favorite thing.
Yes.
In the beginning of a new relationship, it's all about being spontaneous. As your relationship goes on, so does your routine. Routines are great, but you two need to spice up the spontaneity. Don't you remember when you both used to go out on a work night just because? Or when you decided to drive to Las Vegas that one weekend last minute? These are the nights. I
never did that.
You'll never forget. Make more of those moments.
Who drives to Las Vegas? Come on, let's go to Vegas,
Go to Vegas for the weekend. I've never been to Vegas.
You've never been to Vegas?
No, never.
Really? Ooh. We have never. All the places that we've traveled around, we've dragged you around with us.
No, you need to drag me to Vegas. I just want to see it.
Oh, I know. It'll happen.
No,
where's Diane?
Zip it.
Where's Diane?
Stop. I'm at the buffet.
Some vodka in her hand.
Sitting at the buffet.
Shooting craps.
No. I'd be at the buffet.
We're trying to protect you from yourself.
Sitting down with all the old ladies chain smoking and working the slots.
Pulling the slots. Yeah. So we're trying to save you from that.
You're trying to save me from myself.
We care about you.
Okay, spontaneity. That's what you speak against all
I think
the
it's
time.
nonsense. Everybody's trying so hard to get spontaneous. Trying to get spontaneous. We're far too spontaneous.
That one Gladiator movie, right?
Oh, yeah. That's Spartacus.
Oh, that's
Spartacus.
No, spontaneous. I am spontaneous. Spontaneous. Everyone's trying to be spontaneous when really you should focus on being intentional. Yes. Don't worry about being spontaneous. We'll do that on this show.
Be spontaneous?
We're spontaneous, yes.
Yeah, you are. Okay.
Right, kiss.
The next thing you need to do is kiss. Don't you remember when you first started dating and you two would just make out for hours on the couch? It was like you couldn't keep your hands off each other or your lips. As the relationship grows, unfortunately, the making out starts to fade. Well, I say bring on those kisses again. Start acting like the two of you are teenagers and get to kissing. Yes? No?
I'm pro kissing.
I didn't think that you would stomp on that one.
No,
I thought you'd be good with that one.
I don't know. I have an opinion.
Okay.
I don't think it matters. Do you think it matters?
That it can help take you back to what it was like in the beginning if you do all that making out like you did in the beginning?
Well, and if guys just want to get to it and skip all that. Yeah.
That's most of the time
That's
All
very,
that.
That's
what
very
happens,
inefficient.
isn't it? It's like, yeah, we know we've done this.
Speed things up. Brace yourself,
Cut to
woman.
the chase.
Hang on, Margaret.
Sadly, I have a lot of female friends that say that that's what their husbands end up doing.
Just skipping everything.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hang
It's
on,
like,
woman.
let's
Here we go. Yeah.
Let's go.
No, I get it.
That's quite a frequent problem, issue.
Well, it's a problem because men don't understand the female physiology. The physiology. Shall we have a lesson on physiology?
Oh, Lord.
Hang on, Margaret.
Hang on, Margaret. He's going to draw pictures. No, we're not going to get gross. It's just in general. For the physical part of... Actually, sex is a very complicated thing. Relationally, things need to be in a good place. Emotionally, she needs to be in a good place. And then her hormones need to be in a good place. Okay? So, assuming that's all there, and here's the thing. Early in the relationship, all that stuff's almost automatic. So the younger you are, the more all that stuff just fires, okay? And there's so much this touching of the hand fires off the hormones because it's the touch and the lighting up of the senses that get her hormones to react that makes the right parts feel good to her. Okay, everybody following me? Class, pay attention. All right, so what happens if a woman's, if you just skip the firing off of the hormone. First of all, the hormones aren't in a good place. There's nothing you can do. So that's why women got to be healthy, and we're doing the whole thing on that. But anyway, so assuming everything's healthy, just you grabbing stuff doesn't necessarily feel good to her. In fact, it can actually feel bad to her. What you think. Because a guy, man, you can grab a guy with a pair of pliers and at some level, that still kind of feels good. You know what I'm saying? But women are different than this.
Phil says no.
Leave the pliers at home.
Please leave the flyers at home. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, so it doesn't necessarily feel good to her. It is this touching of the senses, the touching, the kissing, the flirting, the audible things you can say to her, like, hey, get off me. No, I mean, like, you're pretty and stuff like that,
Yes.
okay? That starts to fire off the hormones. Now when you touch the parts, it feels very good to her.
So if you skip all of that and you just want to
just
go
to grab
to the finish,
stuff, it doesn't feel good to her.
and then she'll say, get off of me, get away from me, and you'll say, she never wants to have sex.
Exactly.
And that's not true.
Exactly true. I mean, you're exactly true that that's not true.
She wants to have sex with you. She just doesn't want to skip the A, B, and go straight to the Z.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that's what guys don't understand. I'm trying to educate men more about that. Because they don't get, because men, seriously, you need no preparation for everything. You just touch it. Wow! It just feels good to them.
Don't be a doofus.
Yeah, don't be a doofus. So women aren't like that. You need to, what's a good
Prime
analogy?
the pump.
Prime the pump. You know, if people even know what that means anyway, they probably don't even know
No,
what that
they
means.
probably don't.
Back in the old days when you used to try and get pump to water out of the well, the way that you get it, you have to actually pour some water down the well to prime the pump, and all of a sudden then you start getting something out. So anyway, so that's the importance of the kissing and the touching and stuff
water
like that.
on her first?
Yes, you should dump water on your girl first, and then by the way, for a lot of women, some women are very stable all the time with their hormones. Some every 28 days they go nuts, and then if the hormones are off, all the kissing and touching stuff still won't work. No. See, that's
because
the crazy thing about it. Because the hormones are off, you can flirt with her kids and say, "Get away from me." She still wants you to touch her because it is what it is. That's why it's more complicated for her. You need to have the hormones in place, and that's healthy. Once then you fire it off with the kissing and the touching and the nice things you say to her, and then you can touch things that feel good to her. You mess with any of that, it doesn't work. By the way, what's really funny? Hormones are essential for a woman to be sexually, okay? Mental stress, is the enemy of that, and it'll mess it up. And do you know what the single greatest source of her stress is?
Oh, yes, I do.
It's her husband. So you got a guy who's being a jerk. You bring mental stress on her. It messes with her hormones.
You're skipping the forefront of it all, trying to go to the end. Well, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, and that's
You're denser than doorknobs.
Yeah, I know, and that's the problem. Then a guy can do all this stuff, and it still doesn't work.
Yeah.
So it has to be all of it together to work. So that's just 10 of 8, and we're done.
No, that's 2 of 8.
2 of 8. I'm sorry, 10 of 8.
And we'll continue.
2 of 8.
We'll carry on.
We'll carry it on. So, okay, we'll take a break. We'll be back right after this.
Mark Gungor. Yeah, we've got an app for that. Download your free Mark Gungor app today.
Hi, Mark Gungor here talking to you about Transition One, our one-year transition program here in Green Bay, Wisconsin, that is designed to help young people, young Christian people. And I want to stress that this isn't a program for juvenile delinquents. Mm-hmm. You got a kid who's a mess, man, don't send them to us. I'm talking about devout Christian kids. They finish high school, and before they go into college, they take a one-year program. There's several of these around the country. We have one here in the Mark Gungor world called Transition One. We launched this last year, and it's been fabulous. I mean, it's really wonderful, and these kids have been dramatically affected by this in a wonderful way. We teach them about life. We focus on how to live, how to make decisions, how to plan, how to date, how to make choices for spouses, how to do all these things. And we show them how to serve, and we give them service opportunities and teach them to put God first in their lives. The last 3 months of the program, they go on a missions trip, not one of these, 7-day. And God bless those who do that. I mean, I still think they're great, but those are more of a vacation. When you go on a real missions trip and you're there for months, you really learn stuff, and it really changes you, and you really get to understand, and really, if nothing else, to appreciate what you have here. Believe it or not, there's places in the world that they don't have Wi-Fi in every corner of your world. Life is different. There's not a McDonald's on every corner. There's not, 3,000 television channels. There's places where, quite frankly, none of that stuff exists, and you haven't a chance to really see these kids grow and mature. When they come back, I'm telling them their lives will be changed forever, and then let them go on and pursue their lives. Jesus taught us, if you will seek first my kingdom, I'll add all these things to you. You parents who just try to get your kids to go get these things right away, as that's the top priority, you're making in my opinion, a terrible mistake. Slow down. Take a year. Put God first in the lives of your children. Encourage them to do so. Go check out our website. We'll tell you all about our program, transition1.org. That's transition1.org.
Check your blues at the door. Check your blues at the door. So kick back and relax, 'cause we're checking our blues at the door.
The music of Jimmy Bratcher. Check out his music, jimmybratcher.com. Are we going to continue with this?
No, I thought for another show.
Okay.
Okay.
What do I know?
By the way, speaking of spontaneity, you know how you talk about the
Cialis commercial?
No, the rose, and how women they prefer to have
one instead of a dozen.
Or no, it was more about the kissing thing. I was thinking about men don't kiss. I think it's inefficient. They just want to jump in and do it. Mm-hmm. No, so I heard this girl. She said, my husband did. He was at the seminar, and he mentioned the thing about how many women here, and you have them raise their hand, would rather have one rose 12 different times than 12 roses one time. Mm-hmm. And he was shocked. He's looking around, his jaws drop like, no way. So he goes home. She goes out. When she comes back, he has a rose bush planted in the front yard and says, there you go. Now you can have a rose anytime you want.
No.
That's genius.
No, he's a moron.
No.
That's hilarious.
He's an idiot of astronomical proportion. Total idiot.
No, but here's the funny thing. At some level, that's his version of love for her. I mean, he goes out of his way to get a bush, plan to do the whole thing. It's just fundamentally he didn't quite get it.
It was not done out of sarcasm, I asked.
Yes,
It was,
he did it legitimately.
Legitimately serious.
And you know what?
If
A
he
healthy
went out-
woman who loves a
Right.
guy, she'll just cue into that. No, you're not.
Yes,
this is his
what
love
he
for
did.
me, and just relax.
But
thought it was hilarious.
if it's just lazy, that okay, I took care of it, I don't have to do it anymore. Now, if he went out there every day and cut it and brought it into her, wouldn't that,
That would be
really
a little
sweet?
different, yeah. But he said we can get one anytime you want, which is he kind of missed the point.
Yes.
But still, you got to admit, I mean, there's no way I'm digging in the yard to plant a bush.
If you went out and bought a rose bush and planted it in your yard, that would be the supreme show and expression of love because that ain't you.
I don't know.
Any simple act of manual labor.
That's right. Cleaning the bathroom. If he cleaned the bathroom for her.
Is it just me? Or does that monitor seems highly modulated,
What does modulated mean?
overexposed?
Overexposed.
Yeah. Does that make sense to you? Is yours
You mean
technical? No, that one seems
Too
okay.
bright, too white?
Yeah, correct. So
Yeah.
maybe it's a connection
Yeah,
thing.
usually that one does seem blown out.
No, it's more than normal.
At least we all look the same to people who are just listening.
Okay.
That's good.
I'd miss the days.
You know,
of-
I don't know, huh? Oh, now it fixed it.
It is different.
Now, was it
Okay.
being recorded that way?
That
Oh,
was just
okay.
the monitor.
What's funny is I don't think I've ever met anybody who actually watches the show.
Oh, yeah, there's people who do. Well,
I haven't met them.
that's because
I'm sure
most
there
listen
are.
to just
They
podcasts.
listen to it, yeah.
So then why do we keep doing this?
I don't know. Hey, do 2 more of these, or we're never going to get through this thing. It'll be like October.
Well, that's all right.
You really want to take the time? We can do it, I guess.
Okay, whatever you want to do. It's
Oh,
your show.
Yeah, what do I know? I just work here. All right, we'll leave it.
Okay.
We'll spend the rest of the year slowly getting through
No.
this.
This has been another
Oh my
on-air
gosh.
production meeting.
On-air production.
For
We do this from time
heaven's
to time.
sakes.
All right.
Okay, the first email today says, "Hello, I was listening to your video and I have a serious question."
Listening to you.
See, she listens to the video too.
It's a he.
She's not even watching
He
it.
does.
It's a he.
You should watch the video. I'm watching your video, but he's listening to the video.
I think your full seminar video, not this.
I'm just saying, one watches a video.
Mm-hmm.
One does not listen to a video. Unless you put on the video.
Excuse me, and then walk into the
away
kitchen.
and
I
just
do
get-
that all the time.
Well,
I
because
often listen
you're
to
an
videos.
odd woman.
We've established that.
I'm overmodulated again. Who cares? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so tell me, my so-called wife has been
My so-called wife. What is that?
has been having sex with other men
Oh,
That's why
that's a so-called.
while we are still married.
Yes.
And she claims to be a born again. From your
born
life with Jesus Christ experience and the truth inside your heart, advise me, is it right to forgive this witch? Although he used a different word that rhymes with that.
A witch. A stitch. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Or to let her go with the other men she had been sleeping with. And I did ask him if he too was a born again, and he said, "Yes, I am."
I'd divorce a chick. I'm just saying what. You want to know what I would do? This shows about what I think. I would divorce. I find my wife is doing the horizontal mambo with a variety of men.
Not
It's-
just another man, other men.
Oh yeah, it's over. It's absolutely over. And I have people who write me and want me to walk. One guy wrote me, my wife's had been with 20 men.
in 5 years.
In 5 years, 20 men. What should I do? I said, you ought to dump her butt. And he goes, I don't think that's love. And I think this guy's a moron. Your wife's with 20 men in 5 years. It's
Done.
time to move on. That's what I would do. I promise you. Now, can people get past the affairs? Yes. Usually it's a one-time situation. There's a lot of stuff that made sense into, one person's ignoring the other person physically, not paying attention. I mean, or you put yourself in a bad situation. I mean, there's stuff, and you might be able to overlook that and stuff. But when you got someone who's just a serial adulterer, you dump them. My personal opinion, don't complain to me if you don't like the opinion. But that's what you dump her. Good Lord, this is nuts.
Now,
There's no such thing as a crazy question.
just crazy
Just
people.
crazy people.
No, you did not say what I totally thought. Just when I think I know where you're going to go, you prove me wrong.
He's keeping spontaneity in the show.
I'm
He
getting
is very
spontaneity. I'm
No,
trying to
I knew
be
you would say that, but I
Okay.
also thought you would say, regardless of whether you stay with her or leave, you must forgive her.
Well, yeah, but you didn't answer that.
I just thought that you would say that.
If you ask the question, I will. Go ahead, ask the question. Mark, should you forgive her?
He said, "Is it right to forgive her?"
Oh, I forgot that. Yes, you should forgive her. You had to forgive her, but I'd still dump her.
Yeah.
You had to forgive everybody. Everybody thinks, well, if I divorce them, then I don't have to forgive them. No. Somebody could kill your children,
Which happens.
and you have to forgive them. You really do. Doesn't mean that they don't go to jail. Okay? I think this girl is clearly guilty of violating the marriage covenant. You put her away. It's very clear. And yes, you still have to forgive her. I'm sorry. I apologize. I missed that.
Well, I always just pick up what you let fall anyway, so.
All right, we'll come back with another email right after this.
Attend Mark's Laugh Your Way to a Better Marriage event. Visit laughyourway.com for upcoming dates and locations.
Headed down to the river where muddy water flows.
You wouldn't appreciate crazy like you do.
I'm tired, I've been carrying a heavy load.
The Croatian sensation is like drugs over there. Camera's going wild.
She was trying to adjust it.
We're back. The Mark Gungor Show, talking about love, marriage, and relationship, and answering your emails.
She says, my husband and I have been married for 18 months. In pre-marriage counseling, when discussing sexual frequency, he said 2 times a week, and my expectation was around 7. They must have been asked, the wife.
The wife was expecting 7.
7.
Okay.
I had been in a long-term sexual relationship with someone else before I met my husband, and the husband had waited for sex till the wedding night. So we felt that his low expectation was due to his inexperience. We thought that he would want it more once he experienced sex.
How old is he?
Now, we are married. I didn't ask that.
That's a big factor right there.
How old is he?
How old they are.
I missed that.
Let me tell you why. Y'all can do whatever you want. And some of you, in all fairness, you can't find anybody who wants you, or you can't find anybody you want until you're well into your 30s and 40s. It is what it is. But you girls need to think this through. If a man is well into his 30s, 35 plus, and has never had sex, you're talking about a man who really doesn't have a very high sex drive. Think it through. It is the sex drive that pushes a man towards a woman. It's not his need for a prayer partner or whatever this other over-romanticized, over-spiritualized nonsense that is advocated in Christianity today. It's about sex. It's the sex drive. It's what motivates a man. I was highly motivated as a young man. That's why I got married at 18. Why'd you do that? Well, can you figure it out? All right?
Well, clearly he was not motivated because he was saying only twice a week. That's all that he thought. So there was no motivation.
I'm trying to help this lady.
Okay.
Because I've had women complain to me. And they're almost all who marry men who've never had sex. They were all virgins like this guy at 35 plus. Or even over 30, some of them. You're talking about a guy who's you're talking about a man. First of all, you guys, think it through. A man's sexual peak happens around 18. 18 to 20, 21, that's your peak. So when here's your peak, and then you still haven't gotten married, and pretty soon your sexual peak is in the rearview mirror. Okay? That's why you want to get on with it. These guys are missing out, I think, on the best part of their sexual experience because they don't bother to get married till into the 30s. And I'm talking Christian guys who don't have sex with women. And I'm not advocating to have sex. I'm saying I'm advocating to get married young. So anyway, when you do this, so I just talked to a lady the other day. She gets married. The guy's 38, never been with a woman. He just think this is great and wonderful. So they're on their honeymoon. 2 or 3 days into the honeymoon, she wakes up in the morning. She rolls over. He's not there. And she freaks. Where's he at? And they said, well, I got up early because my brother's in town. I wanted to do breakfast with my brother. And she was just smart because she expects him to be ravaging her, like this lady, right?
He hasn't for 38 years.
Because it's not that big a deal to them. That's what you get when you marry a guy like that. You want someone really passionate, and you're 35, you better try and find a guy in his 20s because it's just, look, sucks to be you. It is what it is. Think it through, you people, you single people, for the love of heaven. Use your brains. Oh, I broke my pencil.
Your pencil. Look at that.
He's getting violent. Use your brains. They're not using their brain. They don't think because nobody talks about this stuff. Wait. I'm not done. So, on my honeymoon,
TMI.
If my brother's in town, I ain't getting out of bed. If my brother calls me and says I'm on fire, I ain't going over there. I tell him call the police, and he says, for some reason, I can't call the police. I say, you're going to die. And then I hang up. His brother was in town, so he got up to go be with his brother because he doesn't, instead of thinking, wow, I get to be with this incredible woman, we could be together, they don't think that way because they're just not that interested in sex at this point. All right, is there a lot more? Keep
a little
going.
bit more.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, we
have time? We'll come back after the break.
The point I was trying to make
Yes.
is regardless of his age, whether he's 24 or 44, you tell me you only want it twice a week ahead of time because you don't have that kind of thing going on. You're like, that's a red flag right there. She should have known that.
Now, so the guy said this to her, or the counselor said this to him?
In the counseling session, they each said what's their expectation, and he said, yeah, twice a week.
Well, and what did she say?
She said 7 times a week.
Well, then why are you upset if there's only twice a week? I don't know. People are crazy. All right, we will pick up more on this email right after this break.
Caution, the Mark Gungor Show contains adult content intended for an adult audience.
Never easy, never sane. It's all so complicated.
It is all complicated, but we're here to simplify that which is complicated. We're on the Mark Gungor Show. Mark Gungor, the lovely Diane, and the crazy Phil over there, and the Croatian sensation running camera today. So we got an email from a lady who says, look, during pre-marriage counseling, they said, what do you expect for sex? She said, 7 times a week. And her boyfriend's fiancé said, well, just 2. And she thought, well, once we start having sex, he'll realize it's something you want to have all the time. And now she's shocked that he doesn't want to have it all the time. We don't know how old this guy is. My guess is from this description, he's probably older. In fact, she said it wasn't a long-term relationship with somebody else, right? So we're talking later in life. So these guys are probably in their 30s. And I'm telling you that these people create these problems here's the problem. Here's why I'm so big on young marriage. Here's your 3 scenarios. If you're talking to a Christian guy, we're not talking about pagans. We can't fix all those people, okay? We can barely fix the Christians, good Lord. But from a Christian standpoint, when you tell people to delay marriage, either 1, they go ahead and have sex anyway, which is what she was doing. That creates problems. 2, because he has so much sexual energy, he turns to porn and masturbating. And he thinks, well, that's better that than having an actual sex, which that has actually been advocated by pastors and Christian leaders and say, good grief, I got a frog in my throat. Better to have sex than that, even though you probably, it's not ideal. All the stuff that we've heard, okay? The problem there is the guy actually gets so conditioned by the porn that when he gets married, he's still not interested in the real girl. Big studies now coming out showing that guys who are well into porn, a lot of them, even in their early 20s, when they're with a real woman, they can't have sex with a woman. They can't get an erection. Nothing works. They're so damaged. Porn and masturbating is very damaging to many men. So that's the other problem. The third problem, which the church thinks is a win, when we actually have a man who stays a virgin until later in life, and we think that's the big win. And I'm telling you why it's not a win. Because we are, in essence, creating a version of a eunuch. These men have so denied their sexual energy and said, no, and they lose interest in sex. Their sexual interest is way past. Now they're getting married 35, 38, either side, 32, whatever. Everybody's different. But now they're really not interested in sex. So the girl marries him, and then she's upset because this guy isn't passionate. But no one ever talks about that version.
Well, the writing was on the wall if you know what to look for.
Yeah, but nobody talks about it. So it's not her fault.
No.
Now, in all fairness, he admitted that was his expectation, but she thought that would change because he never had sex. She had. She said, well, you're going to dig this. When in reality, he was being very honest. He just doesn't have that big. That's what you get. So these are the 3 problems that we have. Again, some of you, no matter what I say, and you want to do life right, you just can't find somebody or be found by someone until you're 48. Then it is what it is. But just understand, it's not going to be like if you were 21 years of age. You just go in with the right expectations. My warning to you young people, get serious about your sexuality early in life. Get married young. I was in Africa, and this lady came to me. She was all upset. She says, we did everything right. We followed everything that they told us to do in the church. I was 33. He was 36. He's never had sex. We're going to do it right. And she's so frustrated. She says, I have to just about rape him for him to have sex with me. What do I do? That's when I first started hearing it. I started hearing more. That's what it dawned on me. Good Lord, we're creating eunuchs out of these guys. They're not interested in sex anymore. That's the thing that you got, my dear. She's only married 18 months. The good news is, just relax. He's still your husband. You're going to have to calm down. You're going to have to encourage him to step it up. It is what it is, but just don't feel bad. Gee, I don't have that passionate thing that I was having before, which, by the way, had she not been sexually active before, she wouldn't know what she's missing. That's a whole nother can of worms. That's what we talked about on the last show, you know. Gee, I like oral sex. The guy doesn't want to do oral sex. And they have all these problems sexually because they learn stuff from other lovers that they're not getting from their current lover. Now they're dissatisfied. It's all a big stinking mess. My advice, get married earlier. Now, one of our biggest audiences is in Africa. The problem in Africa, and they get mad at me, and pastors get mad at me. I love you guys. I sincerely love it. I hope you know I love you. But this whole thing of paying dowries and stuff is ridiculous. The Christian church, I know the Christian church saying, no, we want to win the families. We want to win the families, so we're doing this stupid tradition. Jesus said, I didn't come so that your family would all be happy with you. Jesus, if you actually read the Bible, says, I came to set family members against each other because of doing life right. I don't know why the Christian church, we don't do idols anymore. We don't let them, do witchcraft when they get saved anymore. And if a Muslim gets converted, he doesn't eat pork anymore. It doesn't care if the family has a tradition every year where they gather and they, cook a pig or whatever. Why is it the Christians can't be more serious about our Christianity? One of the things about Christianity is we don't do this thing, okay? The reason in that country so many of them wait so long to get married is they have to work so long before they can get the dowry, and then and they're having problems with fornication and all these other things that are going on. All the things that I just listed there is because of this absurd pagan tradition. And anyway, so I know I just made a bunch of you angry, but it's got to stop. It's got to stop. We need to be more concerned about the kingdom of God than what grandma thinks. I don't care what the tradition is. My tradition is that I come from a family of hardcore alcoholics. I broke that tradition because I'm a Christian. All right? There's all kinds of weird traditions people have. Why they hang on to that in that wonderful continent. Christians, I understand why the pagans do. Why because I know why, because I've talked to these pastors who say, well,
because they want to win the family. They don't want to offend them.
And I asked him, and he's a big pastor, and if I mention the name, a lot of you know who he is, and I won't do that. But I looked at him and says, where in the Bible, in the Gospels, do you get the idea that we're supposed to try and make the family happy? I started quoting what Jesus said about turning a brother against his father and all this other. He said, I don't think I came to bring peace. And he just stared at me because he didn't have an answer, because there's no answer. And I don't think he's ever talked to me since. In fact, I'm sure of it. Well, he can get mad at me. I don't care. I mean, I'm more concerned that we do life right. I'm more concerned that we raise up healthy families and do things righteously. And how about we not have young people that are having sex and getting AIDS or other diseases and everything because we can't follow the Bible's example. We're more interested in some tradition. Anyway, this thing goes so many different versions. I don't care how you look at this. The healthiest way to do this, people, and encourage your children, you find someone that you love at an early age, you get married. It's just, well, we're not through college yet. So what? Well, we don't have enough money. Then move in with mom and dad. Of course, at this point, mom and dad hates them because they broke the tradition. Fine. Work it out. I mean, the church should step up, find the answers to these questions. The kingdom of God should find answers to these situations. I'll tell you what is destructive. The porn, fornicating, for all the reasons we just said, and then the third, assuming you can even get to the third, which is still pretty rare, then you create young men who've lost their strong sexual drive. And it's just a big, stinking mess. Or ignore me and keep doing what you're doing. It's your choice. All right, we'll take a break. We'll be back with another email right after this.
Want more of Mark? Visit markgungor.com. There you will find everything that Mark has to offer.
What will you do? What will you say when the blues come? When the blues come. Oh, what a night. Oh,
Croatian
what a
sensation.
day when the blues
Not to be confused with Tony Kukoc.
Okay, now I don't even know that reference. Now you're beyond me.
We're back, the Mark Gungor Show.
Was that your favorite basketball player?
No, but he's super hot.
Yeah.
No, but he's super hot. How do you say super hot in Croatian?
Na?
No?
Jako dobro.
Jaka dobro?
Jako dobro.
So if I went to Croatia, everywhere a woman would look at me and go, Jaka dobro.
Oh, sure.
All right.
They'd be saying yak anyway.
It's
Yuck.
jako.
Oh, sure. Yuck. They say yuck. Yuck.
Yuck.
Yuck.
Jaka dobro.
Yuck. Emphasis on the yuck.
I'm a beautiful man.
Sure you are.
All right.
Okay. I think it's a guy writing. Yes, it is. I want to know or find a better understanding on an issue in my relationship dealing with alcohol, he says. My fiance likes to drink from time to time and wants to do it in the home once we're married. But I, on the other hand, don't drink nor want it in the home. We have been together for almost 4 years. She hasn't really had anything to drink around me, but now she has stated that she wants and feels the need to in front of me
Probably
once
because
we
you're
are
irritating her.
married.
And the only way she can deal with you after 4 years is a drink. Why are you dating for 4 years? What's the matter with these people?
I didn't ask that question.
4 years.
I know.
4 year date. You should date for 1 year. And really, by the 6-month period, you should pretty much know that the end of the year,
Yes.
you're going to wind up with an engagement ring on your finger and married as soon as possible thereafter.
Because
you dump these guys, girls. You dump them. You don't let them date you for 4 years.
But probably their pastor and their parents and everybody else is telling them.
Nimrods.
Okay, so during the premarital counseling session, I asked that there not be any alcohol in the home once we
I
get
need some
married.
alcohol. Just listening to your email.
And since that moment, we have been constantly arguing over this matter, and she has even parted ways with me over it. I would like to know and understand what's a middle ground if one wants it in the home and the other one doesn't.
My personal opinion, you're a dummy. All right? You're just being anal. You're just being anal. The Bible doesn't say you can't drink. It says you can't get drunk. Well, I don't want it in my home. Then you're being a jerk. There's a lot of couples where one drinks on occasion, the other one doesn't. So what? For you to demand it's not in the home, what do you care if it's in the home? You don't drink, you don't drink. Or do you only not drink because it's not in the home? I mean, what is that? I think he's being a jerk. Not a dummy, a jerk. Sorry.
Just on one side of the home,
What was the
maybe
wrong-
as a compromise?
The wrong
Maybe.
insult.
So you can drink in these rooms, but not these rooms.
I hate it when I use the wrong insult. No, he's just being a jerk. I mean, but she should dump you anyway.
4 years?
4 years, really? She should have dumped you 3 years ago. So that's what I think. There.
Maybe
right?
they're just not ready.
How do I know if I'm ready?
Oh, who knows?
I don't even know what ready means anymore.
I don't even know what ready means.
I don't even know.
But what does ready mean? How do I know I'm ready to be ready? I mean, I'll be ready till I'm ready. To know
Not
if I'm
ready to commit, not ready to.
And we need to at least.
Shouldn't I just know when?
I guess.
How do I really know?
They're
I'm in
ready to
love?
have sex, but they're just not ready to know if that's the person
I
to spend the
feel
rest
so
of their
bad
life
for these
with.
people. I don't know. They overthink everything. I don't know what they're thinking. You know,
They're overthinking,
they're just-
clearly.
4 years. I would dump. I think she should dump him. Forget the alcohol.
Just on the 4 year alone
Just the
basis.
4 year alone, she should dump you. You know what it's saying to her when you're with her for 4 years and you haven't already married her, that you don't really want her, or you're not a very passionate man. I'd dump her just because you're not a passionate man.
Or maybe they're.
Or maybe they're fooling around
Fornicating
anyway.
anyway.
You're fornicating anyway.
didn't
No, I
ask
doubt
that.
it if he's that anal about the booze. Although people have weird standards.
Don't they?
I know people who
So
fornicate
do
their
I.
brains out, but they have a biblical problem with alcohol.
Yep.
Seriously?
Yep.
I don't want to listen to this one. Grab another one.
All done.
I need some
Let's
alcohol.
see, what other ones can I do that make you kind of irritated
Just
here?
people like this.
Okay. Are you
All
done?
right.
Are you done
Yeah,
ranting? Okay.
I'm done.
She says, I love your seminar. Watched it whenever my boyfriend starts getting on my nerves. She watches your seminar when her boyfriend starts getting on her nerves so she can figure out if it's just a man problem or if it's just his problem.
Just his problem. Okay.
I don't know if you take questions. Okay, forget it. Most men hear what you're saying and tell you how to fix the problem, correct? Mine is silent. He waits for me to finish and then changes the subject without so much as a word in response. I feel like he either isn't listening or doesn't care about what I have to say. Is this a thing that men do or is this unique to mine? How do I talk to him about it without being a nag? I've talked to him about it before, she says.
How long have they been dating?
Sorry, I didn't ask that. I'm just missing it. Oh, yeah, I did too. A year and a half.
Year and a half.
I did
Okay.
too. I did ask that.
Okay, you single people. Look, I know a lot of you are victims of public education and not getting as educated as you should today. Hence, better for the private Christian education because then maybe you're a little more intelligent. Let me run this by you. This is how you know if you want to marry someone. You like them, all right? And they like you back. I was with a guy this weekend. They make it so complicated. 112, they're still single. I said, do you know how I knew who I was going to marry? How? I liked her and she liked me back. Wow.
That's it. That's it.
What a concept. But see, that's not enough for these people.
No.
They got to think all this. So she's with a man that pretty much she doesn't like. Now she said, I still like him. Horse manure.
He gets on her nerves.
He gets on your nerves. He's disconnected. That's the dating process. You find guys during the dating process, you find out if someone drives you crazy. When you discover, this guy's really irritating, you get away from him and you find another guy. If you need marriage counseling before you're married,
Pre-marriage counseling.
you're crazy. Well, I started the show out right. No such thing as a crazy question, just crazy people. I yell at people. The reality, I feel bad for them because nobody's telling them this stuff. What are Christians telling people? What do you mean you're dating for a year and a half? Is that it?
Year and a half.
All right. And already he irritates you to the point. Now, let's stop and think about this. Have you ever written to anybody to ask for help with your relationship?
No.
I have never done this. Have you ever done this? Have you ever done this? So stop it. Here's a lady who's having enough problems with this guy. She feels compelled to write to us, people they don't know, to get help.
Well, she says they're little things, no deal breakers, but yet she's irritated enough to write you.
But that's my point. If you're irritated enough to write, unless she thinks, maybe we'll just have some fun little light thing. There's a problem with these people. They watch my DVD and they think I'm just this light, funny guy all the time. I would think, look, if it's not a big deal, it's not a big deal. If it's a big deal, dump him. That's really the only answer.
If she listens to the show, she would know.
What? She just listens.
If she listens to the show,
she would know. Either it's very important, and if it is, then dump him. If it's not important, then quit letting it bother you. Really? What else? What they want me is to give them the magic formula to make him stop doing
what's
he's
irritating
doing.
her.
I know what they're doing.
I know.
Give me the magic formula so this irritation will stop. I don't have a magic formula. Nobody has a magic formula, okay? Either this irritation is such a problem, you dump him and move on. Or if it's not a problem, which you probably, it's not that big a problem, then quit whining about it. That's what he does. This is very simple. You get used to it. And by the way, a year and a half, where's the ring? Where's the ring? If he doesn't give you a ring in the next few weeks, dump him. Move on. And let me tell you, I'm just finish up this, because these girls, obviously we have a lot of single girls who watch the show. Here's what you guys do. You date a guy, let's say you start at 20, you date him for 5 years. He dumps you. Now you're 25. It takes you a year at least to get over it. Now you're 26, 27 before you find the next guy. He dates you for 5 years. He does that. Now you're 35. 2 guys, and you're already in an age where guys now don't want you because the guys in their 30s don't want 30-year-old girls. They want to go jump back in the 20-year-old pool. Much less if you do it 3 times, now you're pushing 40 and you're still single. And you're crying, God, why don't you bring me a husband? Don't do that. You do it for a year. You start at 20, you got a guy like this, he doesn't ask you to marry him, you dump him. Now that you're 22, now you find another guy. 23, he doesn't want to grow up. Now you're 24, you find another one. By 25, man, you can go through half a dozen of them. And you're still in your 20s. You don't waste. These men, they make me so angry. I just want to punch them. I do. I'm a violent man. He's an angry elf.
Doesn't take much.
Because listen to me, they suck the life out of these young girls.
Yes.
These jackaninnies who date these girls for 5, 6, 7 years, have no intention of marrying them, and then dump them. And some of them after that turn around and date another girl, and in 3 months they marry them.
Well, and that's hurtful to those girls.
They are sucking the life out of it. They are users. They are to be slapped, in my opinion. You girls, don't let them do this to you. I don't know what else to say to them. Ugh. All right, final break, final segment.
Have a marriage dilemma? Email your questions to ask@markgungor.com, and Mark can answer them during one of our shows.
Steamed milk, lots of froth, makes a mustache and I want to lick it off. One thing's for certain, this much I know, it's always brewing and it's not your average Joe. Oh, let my latte runneth over. Get to the very last drop. And like I told you, with due respect to Folgers, it's my favorite part of waking up.
I love this song. Michael O'Brien, check out his music, michaelo.org. So anyway, I was an angry elf today.
You were.
Just angry. You know what makes you so angry is it just, there's no common sense anymore. What we're discussing, everybody used to understand this. When I was growing up, everybody understood, certainly before, how our whole culture has gotten so dysfunctional in one lifetime, in one lifespan. I don't understand it. And here's the thing, there's no answer for this stuff. There's no way to fix it unless you start approaching it differently. Mm-hmm. Their expectations are out of whack. People getting all kinds of crazy going on. All this stuff could be avoided if people would take this seriously, think it through. Man. Do you think back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, women would date some guy for 7 years? Did they do that? Maybe they did.
I just don't think it was as prevalent. I think it did happen.
The thing is if a guy wants to have sex, the only way to get there was through marriage.
Nah, they did.
I don't think as much as they do today. It's like insane today.
Did you know the movie Guys and Dolls? What year was that supposed to be? Remember? She was dating him for 7 years. You've never seen that?
Dan was in high school during that time. She would know.
Yeah, it was.
Back in the 20s
That was
and 30s.
a big thing. He was like 7 years, and he wouldn't marry her. And I think that it happened. I don't know. Maybe not as much.
I guess it did. I don't know. I don't know.
Again, not as prevalent.
You know, you've got the biblical story of what's his butt working for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, winds up with Leah or whatever, and then he's got to work for another 7 years.
But see, I think the Christians romanticize that
I know.
kind of a thing.
They actually read those stories and
7
think,
years,
oh
and
yeah,
if we wait for 7 years, we'll be like Rachel and.
But here's the thing: if that worked in today's culture, I'd be all for it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work. It creates all the problems I've already talked about in the show. Immorality, porn, or men who go way past their sexual prime and are no longer interested in sex. I call them virtual eunuchs. Mm-hmm. And then these girls, their all hearts are broken because they get this. And all that can be avoided if they would just do it earlier on before all this crazy starts happening. Build a life together. Find somebody you love, you want to be with them, and just enjoy your sex life. And these couples who get married and they're miserable with each other 3 months into the marriage. Because a lot of them, they've already had sex so many times already, by the time they get married, they're later in life. These are the ones who struggle the most in marriage. When you get married young and you're not having problems, man, it's like 5 years before we had our first argument, for heaven's sakes. I mean, that's what happens when you do it right.
But you didn't have a head full of nonsense and ridiculous notions about marriage either. That's a big part of it.
I know it, because they're so over-romanticizing.
It's the perspective.
Yeah.
Perspective is the number one reason that people hold off. They have no clue. They don't know what good marriage is. And, well, what if we argue? Well, what if this happens? They have no idea of what a good marriage looks like.
And what it's supposed to do and what it's not supposed to do, what marriage is and what marriage isn't.
And a lot of these marriage shows that they listen to actually make it worse. Because they create such high expectations. Expectation is the key to unhappiness. All right? See ya!
Bye-bye, boys!
Have fun storming the castle!